Party to me represents progress but also fairness. It's about building a society and a community that is premised on the notion that we can bring everybody along. The Labor Party has, traditional roots in working class Australia, and I think while that's moved on, we maintain a lot of those original ideas about dignity, about fairness, and it still holds true for me. I think it's probably down to both sides. I think the biggest problem with politics at the moment is that we've lost the ability to think long term and therefore have some amazing debates and arguments about what we want our nation to look like. I think with the current government, federally at the moment, their main problems are not being able to take grand steps in seeking different revenue bases. And it's potentially because their politics lie in the area of being small government and in the area of not wanting to upset, I guess, traditional friends in where those revenue sources need to come from. I think it's not so much a common misconception as something that is perhaps a common argument that's used against the Labor Party, and that is this whole notion that it is run by the unions or that somehow that is bad. The union movement comes obviously from, the ability for workers to organise. There was nothing bad about the Labor Party having ties and strong ties to the union movement, and that I guess it's almost a soundbite that can be used against the Labor Party in some way, because unionism is a little bit misunderstood, is a little bit out of favour, is not as fashionable as it used to be. That's probably one of the greatest brand threats that we face, but in my opinion, we should never step away from the Union Party roots. They are incredibly important and they speak to very much the country that we're trying to build.
Well, the Liberal Party is primarily focused on advancing the interests of our state and our country and its people. So some of the values and the principles and the ways that it does that is by respecting the capacity of a person to be able to make that contribution to their community through liberty. So respecting somebody's capacity to be able to contribute as an individual and maximise the potential characteristics that they have as an individual. Well, one of the challenges that we have in our community is firstly for government to be able to deliver the services that assist people. You need a growing economy because governments are primarily funded through taxes. So if people don't have the opportunity to work in a role and derive an income, not only does that affect them personally, but it obviously affects the capacity of the state to be able to provide vital services that it needs, things like health services, things like education services, things like police services and roads. So we've got an economy that is certainly growing in Victoria, but it is a slow period of growth compared to other decades past. So one of the challenges is to ensure that policies are put in place that promote a growing economy.
I would say that the fundamental difference between the Labor and the Liberal Party is that the Liberal Party is a very, very broad church, if I could use that word to best describe, in that many of our members come from so many different walks of life and contribute in a whole range of different ways. So it's always been about those freedoms in which we cherish and being able to create your own opportunities in life and support those people that really go out and go after things. The Labor Party has always had a very strong, if you like, more of that regulated environment, controlled environment. I think one of the things that the Liberal Party addresses is that opportunity of being able to look at how we as a society can ultimately develop into the future, and particularly we've got some real challenges here in Victoria and in Australia. We've relied heavily on our resources and minerals. We haven't really invested in the sorts of jobs for the future, And I think out of any political party, the Liberal Party is the best position to be able to invest in that and to create policy that ultimately is going to encourage the private sector to establish themselves, to further develop themselves, and ultimately to invest in those jobs for the future. I think, again, the Labor Party have always tended to try and play to a base. And I think what's happened is there's been a real split within the Labor Party between what the Greens offer and what the Labor Party offers. And the Labor Party, over the last 10 to 15 years, have realised that the more pragmatic and the real way of going things is more our way. So they've headed more towards a centralist policy than they have in the past. But then what has happened is a lot of their base supporters have now moved across to the Greens. So Labor are sort of in a position at the moment where they have a bit of a loss of brand identity. Common misconception is the Liberal Party don't really care about things like the environment. And again, that's just so far from the truth. We have been, one of the first parties that have focused on environmental activities. I look at my role at the moment, which is I'm a shadow minister for renewables, and there isn't another shadow minister for renewables from the Labor Party currently in government. There hasn't been a portfolio like this before. Again, when you look at things like renewables, wind, solar, other alternate technologies, the Liberal Party are perfectly placed to look at this sort of stuff because we seek ideas, we encourage ideas, but then we look at ways that we can commercially implement them and ensure that there's longevity in the outcome.
I think that the Labor Party stands for advancing the position of working people in our community. They stand for the value that working together we can all do more than working individually. They stand against exploitation. But I think they do stand for a growth economy, not one that, not a hair shirt type philosophy that I think the Greens really stand for. Modern technology should be adopted, we should grow our economy and advance. I think they also stand for balance. You can't take issues individually and say, well, this is the right answer, as I think some other groups do. And so you can't have everything you'd like if you just examine the issue individually. You can't have all of that. You've got to create a balance that works, a budget that works.
You've got to look at the bigger picture.
Look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And at times that means compromise. Well, I basically think they've gone very hard to the right. They've got rid of all their just about all their small letter liberals. Were pushed out over a period. I think they basically represent big business and their belief that their job is to keep Labor out, which is a very negative view of what we're trying to do. And they don't really believe in government unless it's to advance defence forces and ensure that big business gets maximum go. There's no difference between Labor and Liberal. I get annoyed by that because it's plainly different. They may end up close at times, but they're coming from completely different directions.